All right, y'all. Today we're looking at this boudoir photography business, and for its local searches, city searches, we're going to see if it has BSS. So we're back here in the GBC universe. We're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More on that, the home video, pinned video, somewhere around here. And this is because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our FSIC picture here in white. Over on the left, the highest intent peeps, that's social search, that's Google search, searching, boudoir photo shoot in their city right now. And we talk about that here when we talk about BSS. And over on the right, that's the lowest intent peeps, people that ain't searching for that right now, most often have no idea what the heck boudoir even is. So they actually, So we actually have to reach them via interruption ads on Facebook and Instagram. Talk about that over on our sister brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, where we currently only work with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads, and where we talk about BLCS over there. So BSS is boudoir search sameness. That is when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google. And having 0 slots, our business is dying a fast death because 0 slots page 1 means we're on page 2 or deeper. And as a result, we are invisible to approximately 80% of the market. 80% of, that approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. So we're down a fast death there. Page 1 Google search, not good either. We're looking the same as everyone. The other 9 boudoir photographers, I'll be there each with one link. So we're essentially invisible there as well. And 0-1 slots of page 1 Google is not normal. It's actually a symptom of 2 deeper root causes. And those 2 deeper root causes are market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. So market saturation, basically everyone knows that. Someone's getting a new iPhone, new camera gear. Just over time, more people enter the marketplace. They throw up their Google My Business profile saying they have for boudoir photo shoots. They are throwing up basically they're throwing up their website saying they now do boudoir photography. They're posting the mom groups that they now offer boudoir. And as a result, more boudoir photography sellers, same number of buyers, harder for every single boudoir photographer. Next, something that's not previously known is the false belief of page 1 equality. This is where boudoir photographers kind of accepted, kind of without thinking about it, that every boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google, and that's simply, simply how it is. And as a result, they are, kind of maybe they're slot 8 on page 1, and some market saturation happened. Now they're slot 2 on page 2. They're kind of like, oh, well, that's simply how it is. Hopefully, those people delete their websites and Google stops indexing them and ranking them. So maybe Google will pull me back up onto page 1. So this is 100% incorrect. We've actually discovered Google will give us as many page 1 slots as we want to acquire. And as a result, as we want to put in the effort to acquire. And we discovered this with our new methodology where I was able to go from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google search to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google search. And we were actually able to do that all in 10 days. So we'll see those results in like 2 more pictures here. We also know that boudoir photographer with BSS is a disappearing boudoir photographer. And it's kind of the first warning light, the canary in the coal mine, that that our boudoir photography business is on the path to disappearing as well. But what we've discovered is BSS is treated with social search saturation SQ methodology. We discovered this because we invented it. And it works exactly as it says, social search saturation. We saturate social search with the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords in our city, so we show up there. This is kind of like the snow at the top of the Andes Mountains down in South America on the eastern side, the backside. And what happens to that snow is it melts into small streams, small rivers, and it actually all flows down, flows together into the Amazon River. The Amazon River is page one on Google. So it all starts with saturating social search, which then allows it to flow into page one on Google. And what's interesting is this is the only solution I've seen for boudoir photographers that can successfully compete against market saturation in a relatively quick time frame. So still allow business to grow in a relatively quick time frame without ever, without taking a long time. The second option is actually building a large, well-known brand. Dude, that takes 5 to 10 years. We ain't got 5 to 10 years. We got AI here taking everyone's jobs. We need results faster, way faster in 5 to 10 years. And so brand is off the table for right now at this time. And something interesting about SQ methodology is I actually believe my estimates is it can actually help build a brand, large, well-known brand, approximately 8x faster than standard methods, because we're on so many surfaces, so many times, and actually kind of utilizing the mere exposure effect for our benefit here. So here's an example of fighting back against the market saturation with SQ methodology. Let's say we are, let's say we are in Memphis, Tennessee. There's 1 million boudoir photographers. We're one of them. And as a result, everyone's got their website saying they do boudoir photography. Everyone's trying to rank page one on Google. So ultra competitive, and realize, man, we ain't got no brand. We got to really fight. Like literally, SQ methodology is the only solution out there that can help us with this. So we start using it, and we actually crank it up maximum. And let's say that gives us the first 300 slots page one, or first 300 slots social search against all of the, against all of the on all the social networks. Let's say that flows onto Google, and we get the first 300 organic slots on Google as well. So it's like 10 slots per page, and 10 slots per page means we're taking up basically the first 30 pages of Google search. So we got everywhere a boudoir buyer looks: social search, Google search, basically all in the one they can find. So whose business is going to be growing? Obviously ours. We're the only one people can be finding. Whose business is going to be dying, disappearing, going away? Obviously every other, with our 999,999 boudoir photography competitors in our marketplace. And as a result, we actually, it's kind of the only option for us that gives us a chance to keep growing. So that's what's special about SQ methodology. Now, once you're with SQ methodology, we have page one visibility. Initial benefit, obviously, more page one links to Google search. And we've got this new secondary benefit where every new link we get page one Google search, we're actually kicking a competing boudoir photographer off page one, effectively making them invisible to the approximately 80% of searchers that are never even reached page two. They're page one searchers only, which means making them visible to the bulk of the marketplace. So a lot of boudoir photographers say they actually like this benefit the most. And page one visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. So the GBC universe has a recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 page one slots on Google. And that's the recommended minimum because basically everyone else is going to have 1 slot, so we're going to be dominating them on page one. In the ultra rare case, someone has 2 slots. Well, our 3 slots are also going to be dominating them. So we're basically covering all scenarios by having 3 out of 10. Finally, we know that a boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer. So this is our micro universe here. A disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by the dual horns of market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. That's fine. Simply search. Well, we'll simply use our SQ methodology social search saturation. And that gives us page one visibility, turns us into a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. Now onto my results using SQ methodology. I wanted to rank for this keyword BLCS boudoir. So I already knew that SQ methodology was the number one, basically the number one option for me to do this. And let's go to the organic slots to see my results. So let's see what I got here. So I got organic slot 1, Instagram, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 10, me. So I went from 0 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search, to 9 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search in only 10 days, purely by using S-cubed methodology. No website even needed. Now, onto the main event here. We're going to see if this boudoir photography business, see if it's got BSS for its local or its city search, see if it's hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 page 1 slots on Google. So let's get into it. So we're going to Germantown, Tennessee, and Memphis, Tennessee. All right, so what we got here. We're in Germantown, Tennessee. All right, let's see what we got. Oh, we got 1. All right, so we got 1 out of 10 for local search. Let's go to city. City is always harder to rank for. It's more people competing. Oh, nice. We got organic slot 1. That's great. So we got 1 out of 10. All right, so we got 1 out of 10 here. So we got 1 out of 10 for local. We got 1 out of 10 for Memphis. So yeah, we got BSS for both, and we are hitting the GBC universe recommended minimum. That's 3 out of 10. Neither of those searches. So, all right, so if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer, meaning you've done your local search or city search with the highest intent boudoir buyer searches, and you had BSS for one or both of them, or you did not meet the GBC recommended minimums of 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 of Google search for either one or both of them, and you've accepted that the false belief of page 1 equality is actually a false belief, and you understand, well, now we can actually go and grab and take as many page 1 Google slots as we want. Way better than ads, because Google PPC, I believe the max we're getting is one PPC slot, even if there's 4 or 5 slots available. And once stop spending on ads, that momentum dies. With S-cube methodology, there is still some momentum that continues after. It's not infinite, but there is still momentum that continues after. And you're saying, okay, S-cube methodology is perfect for you. It's the way forward. You've been waiting for something like this. You want those initial benefits, more slots, page 1 on Google. And actually, you really also like the sound of the second initial benefit, which is kicking off your competitors off page 1 on Google, putting them down to page 2. And you actually, you understand the market saturation. Yeah, people get new gear, more boudoir photographers coming over time. But you're actually looking ahead and you're saying, man, AI is taking people's jobs already. So you know it's going to happen more and more and more and more. And so you're like, and actually, not only is new gear going to bring more boudoir photographers into the market, but actually the largest portion of new peeps entering the market will be AI taking their jobs. They still need to earn money. And as a result, they turn to become boudoir photographers. Everyone's got an awesome smartphone with great camera. So flood the market. So you're saying, so you realize, hold on, you actually need to also fortify your position page 1 on Google, have so many links of yours Google wants to rank page 1 that Google actually holds them in reserve off on like page 2, to where current boudoir photographers essentially cannot even rank page 1, and neither can the new entrants that would mostly be coming from AI taking their jobs, can essentially no longer rank on page 1. And you're saying, okay, the only viable way you can see that happening is also with S-cube methodology. And you're liking those benefits, and you're actually looking ahead where doing this S-cube methodology is building up these basically invisible thematic keyword columns plugged into your brand, in digital cyberspace, under your brand name, website name, social handles, and kind of basically building up back-end AI mindshare in the AI brain. Every single day we successfully execute S-cube methodology together, and every single day that happens, we're increasing the probability Google, all these manual search places will recommend us an AI overview, the number 1 most premium placement that we cannot pay for, and be the only one recommended here, right at the top. So you're seeing everyday S-cube methodology builds up the keywords, kind of age, repetition, authority, grouping, relevance, all building up this backend AI mindshare to increase the probability we show up. We're displayed on this AI overview. And also increasing the probability that we show up for every standard AI search in the AI search apps, ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, and Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini. You actually understanding it serves a dual purpose for these AI systems, front-facing, standard search, but also AI search. And last time I did AI search for a boudoir photographer in a city, it recommended 3. This was with ChatGPT. And I went to that city and manually looked, and I was Google and Facebook, and I was able to find like 60. It's like, man, we got to find a way to get recommended here if AI search is only recommending 3. And you're seeing it. XQ methodology is the only solution out there for boudoir photographers that has the highest chance of giving that benefit. And you're also seeing that, you understand, since my plan is to only work with one boudoir photographer per city, that you understand you decide you're going to be a first mover to jump on this, because then you can actually prevent all your competitors from getting it. You get all the benefits, more links page 1, kicking more competitors off page 1, making them disappear in the short term, and most likely in the long term. Higher chance of being shown AI search, AI overview, approximately 8x faster building a brand, and basically building a massive gap between you and all your current competitors and potential future competitors coming when AI is taking people's jobs to this back-end AI mindshare by executing SQ methodologies successfully every single day. And you also see in the converse, if a competing boudoir photographer in your city jumps on this first, then as a result, you'll actually be frozen out. They'll begin the benefits. They'd begin more slots on page 1. They'd be kicking you off page 1, maybe even kicking off you page 2 as well if we could do enough links. So you could be off page 3 or deeper. They're building up this AI backend AI mindshare momentum. They're building out their brand approximately 8x faster than you, and just building a massive, massive gap between me and your competitor and you. And so you would then have to rederive S-cubed methodology all on your own, or at least derive it in the first place, the first time for yourself. And you'd have to, you'd never feel 100% confident you've actually derived it correctly because you'd never actually know. And then you'd have to equal our output every single day. And when you equal output every single day, you would simply be maintaining the gap me and your competitor have already built up against you. So you'd actually have to 2 to 3x our output every single day. And when that happens, you probably won't even feel confident to put in the time to do that, because again, you would not feel 100% confident you've even derived the strategy correctly in the first place. And who's even got 80 hours a day to do all this? So you realize now you're saying that you're like, screw that. I'm going to be the first mover in my city. I'm going to prevent every other boudoir photographer from my area from doing this. I cannot, afford to miss this. Then shoot me a DM. My DMs are currently closed. The hospital is currently closed to new patients. But when I do open my DM, shoot me a DM. And what we will do is we'll see if you qualify for utilizing our S-cubed methodology.